Hey, there we go. All right. Um, I'm back. That's 2 nights in a row that I've done good, and that light is really bright. Let me just knock that one down. There we go. I think that's good. All right. So today, I want to be starting some work on my RPG on Merramos. I want it to be like an old school, classic-y RPG. Kind of like a Final Fantasy or Chrono Trigger-esque type thing. Actually, let me bounce this over to here, and I'll bring up my Trello board. So I have a whole bunch of like drawings, ideas, just everything set up on a Trello board. It's very, I want to draw a lot of influence from the games that I played kind of growing up and do something kind of similar and hopefully just as cool. Like a little bit of like the Final Fantasy type combat, or even like Chrono Trigger, just stuff like that. And then we'll go from there. So I'm going to be developing this all in Godot engine and going from there. So I have a rough base already started. Well, and when I say a rough base, I mean I have just a screen with a character with no animation and some movement. And so I think today I want to see. Today I want to what do I want to accomplish? Actually, let's jump back over to the Trello board. So well, let's see. We've got player movement handled, so we can actually move this over here. Let's get a camera set up to follow, and then I guess we can kind of move from there. So we'll work on a player camera. And we'll go from there. So Godot does everything as scenes and nodes. So right here I have a player scene, and that contains my player movement. And I believe it also holds, yeah, so I did this. I made this weeks ago, and I haven't really touched anything with it since. So now I'm trying to go back through and remember what I've actually done and how I have it set up. Do I write? Okay, so how I want to do this. We'll grab documentation. We'll start with just the basic camera. So we'll look at camera documentation. Camera 2D is what we're going to need for 2D animations. The camera node for 2D scenes forces the screen current layer to scroll following this node. So okay, so I should be able to just take this player and add a node of camera 2D. Then over here, drag center. So take the world. We'll just throw something like this on it real quick. Just so we can see if the camera actually moves with it. So you can see how the player character runs off of the edge of the screen. The camera isn't following it. So we're going to go back over to the player. Have it on center. And there we go. We have a very rough follow camera now. We're going to want smoothing on. And we'll go back to the documentation to see what that drag center does. Okay, so if we set the drag margin H enabled, so by setting the drag margin now, the camera doesn't follow immediately, which feels a little bit nicer. Feels a little bit smoother, I think. No, that's awful. We want drag center. And okay. I believe I have smoothing enabled. Huh. Okay, so I think setting it to 1 or 2 is going to be the answer, fixing that smoothing and having it look less stuttery. Zoom it in. Bring it in a little bit closer. Too close. I think that might be pretty good for moving around the overworld. Then we'll leave it a little bit closer to the center. Lower better or is higher better? I think that actually is pretty good. I think the character's speed might be a little fast. We'll go back to player, script. Slow it down just a tad. I think that might actually be a happy medium. That's not terrible. I still have that little bit of stuttering, but I think for now call that all right. Actually, you don't need a description. In order to not sit and spend the entire stream working on just that one thing. Actually, you know what? So, when moving my character, pretty sure I use move and slide. Did I set this up to have tile-based movement? Okay. Okay. So, I did. I have it set up so that my character moves exactly one tile every time it is moved. And I did that so that I can take each tile in a tile set and count it as a space, so that I could, on certain maps, yeah, so on certain portions of the map, certain areas, I could do my random number generation for my encounters. Yeah, so I am going to have that little bit of stutter, I think. But there's got to be a better way to do the movement, handle that. There's just so much to do on this. Okay. You know what? We'll start here. So I used a variation of the 8-way movement. Even though this is stupid easy. Now I'm rethinking everything that I've done. Like, I'm thinking about just scrapping it all and starting from scratch. Or working on a different project than this, so that I'm not just consistently scrapping it and restarting, because inevitably I don't know what I'm doing or like how to even begin this. So I want to probably start with just the basic movement and camera systems, and then maybe like entering into battle. So I think just getting like basic mechanics, not even handling like the state machine for the combat or anything like that. Just walk around, enter into battle. So to do that, I would want to I think I would want to do something like equal to kind of like a math.random. And then do for do like tiles traveled. Or something like that. Yeah, like is equal to 0, and then for kind of each tile do a plus equals 1. Kind of do that, and then do if it's less than so I wouldn't want to do it there. I would want to do it like that. Then do like else. And just have that as part of the cycle kind of thing as you're traveling around. Kind of like so, like I think that's how I want to do it. So set it up so that it ticks. You have a counter that ticks up for every tile you traveled. Then we just have a random number generator. Kind of like that, so it'll generate a random number between 0 and 100 kind of thing. And so you're guaranteed every 100 tiles at least to get a combat. But here we would have to do set that to 0 there. Or else that would just tick up indefinitely. So it'll reset the tile counter and then launch the encounter. I think that's the best way to do this. I think. But I haven't set up a project structure. So I should probably do that as well. Get some of like the planning stages done. So I feel like I should change the way I'm doing this structure. Like, this is good. Keep track of stuff. But I should find a tool to see if there are any fun tools out there. Let's see. You know what? We'll do this the old-fashioned way. We'll do it right here in a notepad and go from there. Okay, so I'm gonna have player, party, NPC, enemies, world, combat, we'll have the local environment, or local maps, world maps, inventory, menu. Okay, so what parts need to go into everything? So for the player, we have movement, camera, stats, Actually, we'll put that for animation. Animation, stats, actually, I think just inventory and dialogue. Right? So I'm kind of going through what each element of the game is gonna need and kind of planning everything out. So I'm working in Godot over here on just getting together and like developing my own RPG. And at this point, yeah, I have player movement and a follow camera, but I'm staring at all of the tasks ahead of me and everything I need to accomplish, and I'm at a loss as to like where to go next and what to start on. So I'm kind of making a list of everything that needs to get done and then being able to move forward from there. So like I have a little bit of experience in working in Godot, but it's almost entirely new to me. So I'm kind of just diving into the documentation and seeing what I can do and what I need to do, and kind of just where to go from there. So I'm breaking everything down into smaller tasks, because looking at my project board, my inspiration, my ideas, there's a lot here. So this week I'm working on the player movement, getting the camera to look nice, feel nice. Hey Real Pie, thanks for coming back. Yeah, I'm working on the RPG that I was talking about last night. And I'm just trying to figure out where to actually start. So I think I am going to work on I think it was this. I think my goal for tonight is to set up a system that counts the tiles that the player has traveled and adds it to a variable, and then that variable gets compared to a random number generation to move you over to a separate scene that will be the combat for when you're traveling in the world. And I think that's what I want to accomplish tonight. So it's on to documentation and seeing if there's a random number generator built in. Because they use a there it is. A random number generator, and you can set a range. Yeah, I looked at it, but not knowing Lisp, it was, oh no, that was Lisp, right? That's what you're working in? Or was it? Oh, Visual Basic, that's right. The other person in chat was working in Lisp. Yeah, I looked at it. I don't know Visual, but from what I could kind of like deduce that it did, it looked pretty neat. Here, then to this. Close that out. So I think we'll attach a new script here. And the cool part about Godot is you can look up the documentation right in the editor. So we want a .new. And I don't know that I necessarily want to call it on the ready function. I think I want to call so I am working on building an RPG, and just one step at a time, I want to set this up so that every tile my player walks, so every tile it moves, I want to tick a counter up by 1, and also generate a random number. And if that random number generated is less than the less than that ticker, I want to start a combat. So it's kind of like a random encounter that you have in just normal RPG games. And so I'm going through and reading documentation to see how to implement that. So essentially, yeah. So on my player movement script right here, I have it set so that it's moving by a certain tile size. And so using that tile size, I'm going to have it each time it's essentially, yeah, the certain tick. Every tile movement, it's going to generate a new random number. And so it's going to be guaranteed that at least every 100 tiles you will have one combat. So I could do then I think over here. I have it set up RNG dot so from 0 to 100. And so from there, oh, I forget how to actually like so this down here will print a random number when I start the game. So right there at the ready, it generated the number 11. And I don't want that to do it at just the start of the game. So now I need to remember how to set this up so that when the player moves, it signals to this to generate a random number. So I think I would have a signal here. So I think if I create a function on the player, like that, then I could have that emit a signal to the world script. Saying, hey, I moved one, and then that world would be able to generate the random number. I think. If I'm thinking of that correctly. Let's see. How would I want to do this? Well, I have the move here. So can I set it up to run its own signal or create a custom signal? So could I add a control node? We'll go over here, go to the player, we'll add a control. Hmm. I think oh, I don't know how I want to do this or what I need to connect it to. So I need the player to signal up to the world that they moved. And in order to do that, when its transform changes, I need when its position changes, not... Enter get input. I could do it on the get input, but I don't like the way that would handle it. So I do have this nice is moving variable. I could So if player is moving, oh, thanks for the follow, Hatsumi. Let's see, if player is moving, we can do... I need to declare the tiles traveled. Well, thank you very much. Let's see, we'll do a var, tiles traveled. We'll set that equal to 0 to start. If player is moving, do if var, actually we'll knock this out of the ready. We'll move it down here. Do if have an indented block. Why? Oh. To that. Duh. Oh, it should just be path. No, fine. Get out of here, ready function. Nobody likes you anyways. If random number is less than or equal to tiles traveled, we'll just pass, or actually we'll encounter. Else it is going to be plus equals 1. Equals 0 for encounter. So I think that might actually accomplish what I was trying to do. And I have no idea how long I'm going to need to wander around to make that happen. Actually, let's just to kind of check that out. Okay, so not working the way I thought it would. Okay. I think I see what I did. Or not. Huh. So let's see. So I think my logic is sound, just my implementation is wrong. So, it's a matter of figuring out see, I believe it is actually reference it like this. So now that sets player equal to this over here. And says if is moving is true, so I think in classic tradition of myself, I have created the function, but I never called it. Well, no, that shouldn't matter. So I think finding a way, I need to link this player moving function to this is moving variable here. And once I've managed that, I should be able to tick through the random number generator and have something passable and working. And I think that's the big thing. Let's see. I feel like there is a functionality of Godot that will actually help me. It's just figuring out what it is. Go. So I was looking at this. So, in order to do this, I believe it would actually be a signal. I don't know why it took me to the visual scripting. This is going to be a lot of me just stumbling through documentation as I try to figure this all out. I do apologize for that, but it's kind of how it's going to go. Hey, Jip. Are you bored and waiting? Also, don't spam symbols because my bot really hates it. I'm absolutely stuck. It's not great. Alright, I think I am going to go grab another drink, feed my dog, and try to puzzle this out. I'm going to take a few minutes, and I will be back. All right, and with that, the dog is fed, have a new drink, and we can kind of get back into this and see if I can actually get this to work. So over here in the world, I do have the player, so I can reference it here. And then I should be able to do the player is moving to grab this variable here and the status of it. But that's not working the way that I feel it should. And I don't know why. So for funsies, Um, trying to remember how to create a signal. Okay. It's just simple. You're not a function. You're a signal. Right? Okay, so yes, doing that all wrong. You're get out of here. Ooh. Then here. Then we can take this and connect it to world. Then we take all of this and I think that might do it. Cool. Simple. Right? Oh! Oh! Hey! We got it. It works. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, so I think okay. Oh, that's a victory. So we're gonna divide it by 3 to kind of beef that up. Because this is ridiculously quick. And I think we'll set the bottom range, so we'll set the bottom range at 10. So you can get at least 10 tiles of movement in. Okay, so that is a start. That is a huge start. Okay, so I have that working. Let's go. We'll close this. Go over Trello over here. Random encounters in progress. And I will go. We have currently a random number generator. Incrementing when player moves. Need to change themes to combat. Alright, so that's one win. We'll go back to this. And we'll add a comment. We'll do that. And I don't know where to go from here, because that was the big thing that I wanted to accomplish today. So, I think I will node 2D, do a new one. This will be combat, the capital C. Save the branch of the scene. We'll save it there. We'll open it. Go back to the world. We'll delete that node. I could have just created a new one up here, but oh well. So now in here, there's gonna have to be a whole new combat player party. So let's go back over to the planning. So we need player, party, and enemies, and those all need their stats. So I think setting these up as scriptable objects for this is going to be the way to do this. Yeah, so each player, NPC, enemy, everything needs to be a scriptable object. And then when it comes to Godot, I have never actually messed around with scriptable objects, so I might have to actually look at a tutorial or something so that I'm not using somebody else's like media on my stream, somebody else's intellectual property, I guess. So I think that might be it might be a good place to kind of step back from that, or where I might have to overhaul my entire player character. I'm so happy to have this working. And it's exactly as I said, I just needed to set up a signal so that the player was signaling when it moved up to the, I think it's call down, signal up, or signal up, call down, signal up. So my player is signaling up to the world that it's moving, and the world is registering that movement and iterating my tiles traveled counter. And so let's go over to combat. We'll just, for funsies, we'll pop an icon out here. We'll grow it like so. Go to the inspector. We'll hue shift it to we'll go yellow. Oh, a yellowy green. It will go right there. We'll save that. And we'll put a player in here too. We'll do that, and in the world, go over to the script. And I'll remember how to change scenes. Okay, so I would need to use the get tree dot change scene. Okay, so now enter combat. It changes over to the green because I'm in a different scene. Okay, cool. So now I just need to change the way that that functions. So from here, I would need to set up the combat scene and put my players in some sort of UI form along with the enemy that it generates. So to do this, actually, I can take this one. I can close that, not save it. So for combat, I would have to have a so for combat, I would have to have an enemy pool, essentially. So I'd have to have like an array that holds every type of enemy that's available in that specific map. And then I would do a random number generator when that scene loads. Oh, it's so much planning. So I would have to have an enemy pool, and then I would have to generate between 1 and 6 of the enemies that I need to fill up their side. Then I would have to arrange them in the order to make them selectable in the UI. And then I would have to arrange the player on the other side with the party that they have or whatever. and then bring up the UI on the bottom. Geez. So the entire combat thing is going to have just a whole lot going on. So I'm going to need a ton more research into this to see how this will work and how I can actually put it together. But for now, we have this working. So if there was, I would need a scene transition. And then something to kind of move on. So it would be trigger the encounter, do the transition, in the middle of the transition change the scene so that it opens up back to that. So it would essentially be like a stinger transition in Godot. And everything is going to be OBS because I use Stinger. Okay, so it looks like I would add the transition to the combat scene. Let's see. Okay, so it looks like I could create an animation. So I would set up an animation player that would handle the transition. So I could set up, like, up here, a then in the world I would add an animation player. like so. So I would need a fade animation. Like so. And I would set that up. I do get tree dot change scene to combat. Then instead of this here, I would do fade to combat. And so I would set this up to just have a like fade to black and then come in. So setting that up is the next step. We can save this, we can hit play. And we'll see what it looks like. So it pops over to that, which whatever. I'm okay with that. So we have the player movement tracking and counting up. We have the random number generator ticking and comparing itself to the to that tiles traveled variable. And then if the random number generator is less than half of the tiles traveled, it'll change the scene into combat. And that's what we are looking for and how we want it to actually work. So I think for tonight and so far, I would call all of this a success. For coming into the stream and starting out with like no idea what I wanted to do or how I wanted to do it, I'm happy with this. Yeah. I'm torn on what I want to do next, or if I want to like continue on with this tonight, or like how I want to proceed. Nailed it. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? What should I do at this point? Should I keep going, or should I like take a break, research some of the stuff, and we'll get back to this next week? Or should I redirect and try to work on something else? I could work on the combat scene and do like a player combat and set all of that up. Enemy. And we'll add mechanic and combat tag to that. And then from here, I don't know, do we move on to like art or some of the UI design or something like that, or we have this in progress? We're testing that and that. We need to link this to the enemy pools here. We'll do that in this week. And then from there, yeah, I think if next week we can have the random encounters plus actual combat done, I'll be happy with that. So character stats need to go over here along with enemies and combat system. So I think this is our to-do for the next stream. Well, actually, we'll put these back over here. I think that's a good place to start. So on the player, we can do it'll be its own scene. I think it'll just be a node 2D. And player stats. We'll attach a script to it. Create. We'll do variable strength. Variable speed. So I think we'll just do that. Right? We'll do that, and then on the player, we can bring in now. We'll save it there. So on the player, we can bring in player stat. So now our player has a stats object attached to them. And I really want these to be export variables, which lets me change them in the inspector over on the right. And I can see I can change these variables over here. So over in the player, I can change the strength, speed, health, magic over here. And I think we need to just a basic enemy. Just for the sake of this. Then we'll do another node 2D. It's going to be enemy stats. We'll save that in here as well. Then the enemy stats, we'll add a script to it. And we'll add the same thing. And we'll also take the enemy and attach a script to it. Okay, so now we have the base set up for the player stats, the enemy stats. For the enemy, we now need to add kinematic body 2D. A collision shape. It'll just be probably a rect. Yep. And a sprite. I did the enemy completely wrong. enemy will change his type to a kinematic, in which I can add the collision shape of a rect. We'll go into a script and we'll change the extends. Okay, so from there we now have the building blocks that we're going to go upon. The enemy right now isn't a scriptable object. I just have it as a placeholder, and his sprite is going to literally be the little Godot icon made red, not black, made red, like so. That is it. There's my enemy. Make him the size of that. Cool. Now we'll go into combat. And we'll bring in an enemy. So I think I need to make a go up there. So the enemy needs to be locked like so, that I can move it over here. I think I need to make a combat instance of the player so that the camera isn't attached to it. So that might be because it's going to act differently as well. Because right now the camera is attached to the player. And I don't need that. And my controls are also locked to that. My enemy is tiny compared to my player, but whatever. It'll be like a slime or a blob or something. Yeah, we'll just run around until we hit combat. Yeah, because I want the screen to stay static, centered, instead of following the player. Then I want the UI to pop up, and I want my input controls to only affect the UI, not the player movement. So I think I need a combat player. So I need something completely separate from that. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to delete the player here. Save this scene. Create a new scene. I don't know if I need it to be a kinematic body, because it doesn't need to move. You know what? I'm going to do it anyways. Because that collision shape will allow it to have a thing. Okay, so I think that I think kind of like that. So now I can run around until I hit combat. And now I only have the combat scene. And right now my controls don't do anything. So I would need to do the art for the background. I need to make the enemy bigger. He's just itty bitty. Okay, so now when we go to combat, we have big old enemy. The enemy, we can do this, which will translate over to here. We can just grab this little something, little dude, along with this one. Just set them up like so. And I think honestly taking the camera and zooming it in on them at this point, or just straight up making them bigger, like, I think having it be like this size kind of like this with the UI down here would be like fantastic. So like you have the game open, you're running around, so on and so forth. You get into your combat. And so you've got your UI down here. Something kind of similar to that, I think would actually look pretty good. So at this point, I think taking it and setting it up so that we have the UI elements and getting those to work so that you can select like attack, run, item kind of thing for now. Attack, run, item, object, or magic or something like that. And then just not worrying about the active battle system might be a good idea, like good goal for next stream that we work on this. And so I think at this point there's really nothing that I can do that would be a nice, quick, easy done, and I'm hitting the end of my limits because I have some other stuff that I need to take care of. So I'm gonna pop over to here, and I'm just gonna say it was a good stream. Managed to actually accomplish some things and get stuff done. So I think I'm going to call it quits for tonight. But I will be back on Sunday for Stardew with my wife. We're starting a brand new multiplayer game in the new update, so we'll get going on that, and that'll be fun. And then Wednesday I'll be back doing the Code Academy stuff, so we'll have that on Wednesday, and then Thursday night we'll be back here for more in the Godot and working on Merramos. So I think for, well, that pretty much does it for this stream. Thank you everyone for coming and hanging out, and I will see you next time. Good night.